All right. Well, we made it. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Operators Podcast. We still don't have Cody, which we're sad about, but we've had some pretty cool guests in the meantime, like Aaron Paul. So, Aaron, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me. I know we've been going back and forth on scheduling this. Last couple of weeks have been pretty crazy, so appreciate your patience here, but I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah. And I don't think actually that I don't know if we've had an episode dedicated to affiliate yet. So, we've talked a lot about paid media. We've talked a lot about influencer. We've talked a lot about a lot of things, but nothing dedicated to affiliate yet, which was, you were definitely on our list for a while to come on and chat about affiliate. But before we get into that, so I want to ask if you remember this. You probably don't, but way back in the day, I had moved to Austin. I was working at an agency at the time. This is early in my digital marketing days. I'd probably been in the game for like 3-4 years at this point and like doing e-com for maybe a year or so. And I remember there was a Northbeam hosted event at one of the hotels on South Congress. It was like one of those hotel bars, do you know what I'm talking about? Some of the names of what's that? Do you know the name of that bar?
It's like an outdoor hotel. Like it was like an outdoor situation.
Yeah, it was like an outdoor situation, and Northbeam was hosting an event. But anyways, I remember showing up. I was all nervous. I didn't know anyone, and like you and Dennis were there, hanging out, chatting it up with all these. Yeah, is that Dennis's name?
Dennis Hegstad? Yeah.
Oh, Hegstad. I thought you were saying I thought you were saying something else. Yes, Dennis Hegstad. And I just remember you guys being super inviting, super cool. I didn't know anyone there. We were just like ended up sitting down and jamming on like marketing services stuff. And I just want to say thanks for that, because it meant a lot to me.
Damn.
At that point in my career where I was at, and like I was trying to like figure out my way into this game, and like you guys were just so cool and like down to jam, and there was no like boys club or anything like that going on, even though you guys had been making some moves in the space for a while.
Dude, I remember that because I think that's when we added each other on Twitter, and I think we were talking about On It at the time. Like I think so that was pre-Hexclad for you.
That was pre-Hexclad for me. I was at a growth marketing agency. I was at Zach Stuck's growth marketing agency at the time, buying ads for buying ads, doing creative for all sorts of e-com brands at that time. But yeah, we were chatting about On It, and you were like opening my eyes to like what kind of like world and like shape the marketing services game can take, and like the types of like the levels of sophistication and how you can kind of be surprised at like what big brands are knowing and doing versus some of these like smaller, scrappier brands that are following best practices and all that jazz. It was pretty interesting for me at the time.
Yeah, I think that must have been like 2021, because that's when I had moved to Austin too. 2022. We moved here January 2022, and I remember like the culture in Austin was just really incredible people doing really incredible things, but like they had no ego about it. They would go out of their way to like just meet anyone, meet you, meet myself, like, and just jam and try to add value. And I've never seen that anywhere else. I moved here from Toronto, and there's a lot of great folks in Toronto building, but it's just very, the community is pretty closed, it's hard to like, build together. And I don't think we would have been able to scale Paul Street had I not been in Austin. So it's just like, that's how it was for me when I moved here. People are incredibly inviting, and that's just what makes Austin beautiful,
You're totally
that's
right.
Awesome, dude.
You're totally right. Yeah, I remember I hit up Dennis too. I was like, yo, you want to go to radio and get a coffee? He's like, yeah, we'll go to radio with you and get a coffee.
100%.
Yeah, we had a client at the time who, same thing. I'm like, I don't know anyone here. I reached out to him. He's like, yeah, come into the office. Ended up just like working out of his office for the next like 14 months. Like you're totally right. And like I noticed that exact culture and attitude across a multitude of experiences and people. Like it definitely makes Austin special.
Yeah, it's we're excited to be here. I think my wife and I are. I don't think we're lifetime Austin folks. I think we eventually will make our way out, but this season right now, there's no place like it. But yeah,
are you Canadian?
Awesome. No, so I was born and raised in Bahrain in the Middle East, and then I moved to Toronto 2015. And yeah, so I've been in North America 10 years now. So it's still pretty new, but yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. I had no idea. I didn't know you didn't grow up in the US.
Yeah. It's been it's funny because my parents are Indian, and being born in Bahrain, you're not born citizen, so you're still Indian but you're not resident of India. You're classified as a non-resident of India. And I moved all over, and then Toronto, and then the US. And so when people ask me where I'm from, I'm just like, dude, I don't know.
I don't have a good answer. Do you have 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I mean, you watch Formula One. Have you heard of Bahrain? Like, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Nice.
It's like,
nice.
Yeah. I've made this joke before, but not on the podcast. But that is in a way an attribution question. First touch,
multi-touch, right?
Is it an
where do you
model?
attribute birth? Literally. That's so funny.
That's awesome. Sweet. Well, sweet. I want to get into it, but before we do that, we're gonna thank the amazing sponsors we have of the marketing operators. Thank you, Motion, Richpanel, Aftersell, Prescient, and Northbeam. Let's get into it. So Motion just sent us their latest research on how our e-commerce brands can make incredible meta ads in 2025. I've shared it with my team at Hexclad, as this report is basically the jumping off point to guiding our 2025 paid media production roadmap. Motion, as you know, is the creative analytics and research platform used by brands like Hexclad, True Classic, Ridge Wallet, Jones Road Beauty, Viore, and many, many more. And they actually dug into over $100 million in ad spend, surveyed 500 DTC advertisers, and a deep dive with 12 legendary DTC experts to guide this report. Some of the people that contributed are Dara Denny, Savannah Sanchez, Barry Hott, Nick Sharma, Aaron Orendorf, Sarah Levenger, Joanna Wallace, shout out Hexclad, Hannah Ho, and Gil Chamovsky. This is an amazing resource to help guide your 2025 paid media production roadmap. So generally, a lot of creative strategists, a lot of teams, they come up with a lot of hypotheses about what isn't or is not going to work. And then they build ads around it, and then they launch it, and they use the data to inform whether or not that's working. Well, what this report allows you to do is, instead of starting at ground zero, you're actually able to start at ground level 5, because this report is looking at a bunch of advertisers' data and consolidating information about what has and has not performed well in 2024. So as an example, this report concludes that ads are getting longer and longer and longer in 2024. And what does that mean? It means that education is becoming more and more prevalent in ads. There's some very, very natural next steps that you can action on for your brand based on this information. Another finding, that generally ads as a whole under index on taking a comedic angle, but some of the top performing ads, 25% of them, had some sort of comedic element in 2024. So what does that mean? Maybe you should introduce more humor into your paid media creative strategy this year. Maybe you should introduce more long form educational content into your paid media creative strategy this year. This is a great jumping off point. This is a great document to have pulled up as you're working out your production roadmap for 2025. By referencing this report, you're going to have a much better chance of having higher hit rates, because you are leaning on 2024's actual data instead of just your gut instinct about what will or will not perform well. So this is a super tangible piece of research. It is based on over $100 million in ad spend and the surveys of 500 DTC advertisers. If you have not read it yet, this is going to be super valuable for you. I highly recommend reading this or having it open as you're building out your 2025 paid media creative production roadmap. It's just going to give you a much better jumping off point than not having a piece of research like this. So if you want to check it out, go to motionapp.com/creative trends. That is motionapp.com/creative-trends. So first off, affiliate marketing it's one of the OG digital marketing channels. And I think the whole history of it is really interesting. And I want to get into that. Before we do that, and this is probably we can probably transition from question one into the history of affiliate marketing and like just talk about your note, which was like how some of the largest brands were built by old school affiliate marketers. But real quick, like what's your story? Like how'd you get into digital marketing? Like what's like the timeline of like getting into digital marketing to now running and scaling a really awesome affiliate agency?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, I was in Bahrain in like 2012, 2012, 2013. And it was around the time that Warby Parker had come out. And I just remember like being obsessed with the fact that these folks that wanted to just start a brand just could and undercut like this massive industry, and they were going direct to consumer. And so I was obsessed with the brand, like the way that the photos of the glasses looked, and I just like I need it. I need Warby Parkers, but they never shipped to Bahrain. So what had happened is one of my friends in Bahrain got married to somebody from Jersey, and that wedding was happening in Bahrain. And so I hit up my friend. I'm like, yo, is it okay if I have some Warby Parker shipped to Josh's house? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I did that. When the wedding happened, 2 months later, he brought Warby Parkers to me. And I was just completely obsessed with that process around, oh my God, like something on the internet convinced me there's a beautiful story behind this. But like, again, like Connor, to your point, like how do you attribute that to, right? Like it's pretty massive, impact that a brand back then had. And so eventually that got me really interested in like digital marketing. I had worked at a company in Bahrain that owned a lot of the fine dining restaurants in the Middle East. And so just building social assets for them, trying to build community and get them excited about our restaurants. And, we scale that to like a really massive, like, social following. We were booked out every single day from a capacity perspective. And then I moved to Toronto eventually. And, my first job in Toronto was at this startup called Flixel, where we created cinemagraphs. So cinemagraphs were this new medium that were being, that a lot of brands were using. So it's like a hybrid between a photo and a video. So if you think of like a portrait, like the lady's fully still, but like, her hair is moving. So Flixel developed the app to, create cinemagraphs. They won an Apple Design Award. And, we were using cinemagraphs to have ads for Mercedes and like L'Oreal, and like it just had incredible like click-through rate. People were mesmerized by it. And so that's when like the power of creative was something that I started to like educate myself around and see the impact on. So I was there for about 3-4 years, built their affiliate programs, built community, and like that's when I started getting into affiliate. And I worked with creative tech companies for about 4 or 5 years, and then I just basically took like a couple of months off, and this recruiter reached out to me saying, hey, there's this affiliate agency in Toronto that is looking for like a client partner. Like, would you be interested? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's jam. And I met this guy named Matt Dobson, who is an OG in the affiliate space, and he worked at a company called Jumbleberry, which was like an affiliate network. And affiliate networks of that caliber were like in a little bit more of the grayer, space of affiliate, which, a lot of brands like want to stay away from. But Matt had this interesting idea where, hey, if we take, a brand that is well known and create direct response funnels around them, and then go work with some of the best media buyers in the world who are affiliates, and play an arbitrage game, there's a potential for a lot of scale. And so over the next 3 years, I work with Matt. We built that team to about like 20, 30 people. Work with brands like On It and Goli Nutrition, Chef's Plate by HelloFresh, Hims and Hers, Lark. We did a little over, 250 million in revenue just by working with media buying affiliates, right? And so the game that they would play was, hey, if, a target CPA for brand X was $75, like give us that $75. We just believe that we're better media buyers than you. And so we're going to play the arbitrage game, right? And so if we're now going to acquire that customer for $55, $60, like let's let it rip, right? And so we were doing like, 1,500 sales a day in some cases. Like it was just a crazy scalable, like, initiative. And so that's what got me into, the power of affiliate and what it can do to change certain brands and their trajectory. But at the end of 3 years, I fully burnt out. This was just, that's when I got married, and, we're like, all right, this is taking up a lot of time. We were
Wait, what year was this, Aaron?
This was in 20. Yeah, I left in 2021.
Okay.
And so that's about the time we moved to Austin. And in 2022, like by then, because we'd been in the space for a while, I had the trust of a lot of folks in e-commerce because of, what we've been able to do. And, I was doing a little bit of investing, a little bit of consulting, but just, basically a year off, that's when, we had met, and I was going to a lot of events, just, meeting folks. But the one thing that people would come and ask me for help was with affiliate. And I'm like, oh, go to this agency, go to this person. I'm not going to help you out, right? I'm done with affiliate. There's I'm never going back in. But it kept happening. It kept happening. It kept happening. And so interestingly, I was like, okay, wait, these are not like new brands. These are 9-figure companies that are asking for help with affiliate, where seemingly they had, like paid media figured out, that influencer figured out, brand marketing was figured out, experiential was figured out. Why is affiliate just this like revolving door of vendor strategies, tactics, initiatives? And so I did a little bit of a deep dive in the space holistically, and then you realize like the bar not to be great, not to be good, but mediocre or okay in the affiliate space was very low, right? It was riddled with fraud. It was riddled with mistrust. And I, even to this day, like when we bring a brand on, like, I call it, we take over distressed programs, right? And so like, there's just a lot of lack of trust in it. But at the same time, everyone understands the potential of affiliate if and when done right. So that got me thinking. And so Patty, who I've met through just being in the space, who I have a incredible relationship with, he was on the founding team of Wayflyer.
Patty's
and
great.
So him and
I, Patty's an awesome
he's a
guy, super nice.
Yeah, so we started jamming about it, and he's incredibly smart. And so I think he pushed us to, let's say, hey, let's just start something. Let's start a small consultancy. Let's figure this out. And so January of 2023, we started Paul Street. And it was meant to just like, have a little bit of a consultancy for brands that wanted to just figure out affiliate marketing and do it well. And over the last 2 years, we're a little over 2 years now, we've grown organically. We work with some of the best brands in consumer. The team is now almost 50 people, which is insane. Wow. And so, yeah, and our whole, thing is built in private, purely because of the lack of trust in affiliate. It's just like, hey, let's just come in, try to like, scale it as much as we can, but by doing it well. And a lot of highlights, it's been an incredible 2 years, but we've also failed a lot. Right. And so, just that testing and that reception from brands. And thankfully a lot of great brands just, took a shot on us. You guys were one of our first brands. We've been able to, just grow with you guys, and brands similar to you. And so, yeah, it's been a fascinating couple of years, I think. But yeah, we're just getting started here.
Yeah. Dang, what a story. I appreciate the run through the roadmap. All right. So I want to go into the history of affiliate with you, because when I think of OG affiliate, I do think of like kind of like gray hatty type tactics where like in like today's affiliate world, it's very revenue based. And don't get me wrong, there are still ways to do affiliate in a gray hat way today. But when I think about like OG affiliate, I'm thinking about like, hey, we're going to pay you 10 cents per click. The affiliate marketer thinking, I can get that for 5 cents. Doesn't matter what's happening post click. It's just like pure click arbitrage. And like, that's what I think of when I think of like OG affiliate marketing. So can you, I want to hear from your POV, like what is the history of affiliate? And then you have this note here about how a lot of like, household brands that a lot of people know and love today were actually built on affiliate marketing. So yeah, two-parter, like history of affiliate and then referring to some of the foundations on these OG brands.
Yeah. So, I mean, affiliate's always been around. When I speak to brands, I'm like, hey, what the oldest form of marketing is word of mouth, right? So like think about a caveman walking by another caveman. It's like, hey, like, where'd you get that piece of rock? He's like, from down there. And then, affiliate was the next natural evolution of it. It was like, now you're incentivizing people to talk about the quarry, right? So like, that has evolved over time, in terms of audience, in terms of attention, in terms of community. I think when paid media came out and like Facebook first started, like, affiliate marketers gravitated towards that because it was pure arbitrage, right? And Facebook's not going to tell you this, but like Facebook was built on the backs of like the entire algorithm was built on the backs of just affiliate marketers because they were spending so much money because they were able to find little opportunities for new products where it's not seemingly real products. They're just going to create a pill and just say this is going to cure your hair loss. And there was no rules back then. They'll say this is backed by Oprah, this is backed by Dr. Phil, and just make whatever claims and then just run incredible scale behind that. And so they would just restart brands like every other month and just like, it was absolutely fraudulent, but like that's where it started, right? And that's where direct response principles started in terms of, okay, there's like consumer psychology here, there's behavior here, there's creative here that, if you were to approach it from like a direct response messaging perspective, that's going to convert really well and also bringing people to take action pretty immediately. And so, a lot of money was made in affiliate marketing, right? Like I know folks that were personally taking home back in the day 120, 140 million net just themselves, right? Like million, not 1,000 per month or anything like that. It's just crazy scale. Yeah.
Are these people like, are these affiliates that you're referring to? Are they generally Correct. Finding a single product and just quadrupling down? Or are they figuring out how to crack the code for like 10, 15, 20 products and they just have this insane horizontal scale where, and you're referring to the early days of Facebook, right? Where it's like CPMs are dog cheap. Conversion like clicks are like 10 cents, 20 cents, and just like real arbitrage opportunity. But like what kind of like product brand stack were they working with?
Yeah, it was primarily, they call it Nutra, which in today's world is just health and wellness, right? Like, supplements and, that category. Beauty was huge. So again, like in terms of products that worked, think about need-based brands. Like anything that would solve a need was a opportunity for arbitrage, not want, right? Like, it's not luxury products that they're like selling. And so that was one, they would call out a need, but the folks that would make the money here were divided into three. So you had the advertisers, which were the brands basically that would just create these products. You had the affiliates that were the media buyers. And then you had the networks. The networks were the matchmakers of the two. So there were these three folks that would just create all this opportunity for scale and like we're making a lot of money. But I think just as, humans are like, if you're generating a lot of I think revenue in not the right way, after a while, like it catches up to you. And I think I'm not going to name some brands, but like, some of the most powerful brands today were built by affiliate marketers that had all that capital, right? And so it was a lot of brands that we, use today, that like, I think and all three of us in this room right now have looked at for inspiration. Like, but if you go back to advertorials, these advertorials were like the main thing that affiliates would use back in the day to run scale with. Landing pages, right? Like in the last like 3 years, everyone's like, oh, you have to run to a landing page. That's been done like 8-9 years ago with these affiliates, right? So all of what's been done with affiliate marketing eventually will make its way to like direct response tactics that we use today. But that's where a lot of these brands started, right? I think a good example is like, I think this has gone on Twitter, viral on Twitter a couple of times where, if you look at what Athletic Greens used to look like, 8-9 years ago, like that's a straight up like direct response, landing page with, two beautiful people with 8-packs on them saying, if you drink AG1 or Athletic Greens at the time, like you're going to look like us, right? Like that's an arbitrage opportunity that you're running. But like, that's where a brand like that was, it's now this beautiful, incredible company, but that's where it started, right? And so that has evolved over time. I think an interesting thing that a lot of brands haven't started doing is just VSLs, which is a video format of advertorial. So VSL stands for Video Sales Lander. And so Golden Hippo is a great example of a brand that has created brands like Beverly Hills MD and, Dr. Gundry, and their entire initiative in terms of how they generate customers is they create these, think of an advertorial, but in video format, right? It's these 20, 30 minute long like videos that they put a lot of spend behind, but even affiliates run it. And that's a brand that does over, $1 billion a year in revenue just with arbitrage using VSLs, right? And so I think eventually in the next couple of, months to maybe a year, a lot more brands are going to start using VSLs. But again, it's like this slow like transfer of tactics that were in the affiliate world that makes its way to like, what we like legit, real brands are running today.
Yeah.
So affiliate tactics influence a lot in terms of what we are talking about on a day-to-day basis, which is kind of fascinating if you look at the history of it. But yeah.
If you're running an e-com brand, you know the game of maximizing AOV, and that's exactly what Aftersell does. Over 35,000 e-commerce brands, including all of us at Marketing Operators, trust Aftersell to power their upsells and increase their AOV by 30% on average. Their upselling suite works from checkout all the way to the thank you page. Here's what makes Aftersell stand out. One-click post-purchase upsells, which we talked about on episode 40 with Shane and episode 33 with Zach, is a great way to drive revenue without adding friction or expecting the customer to re-enter payment. You get checkout upsells, which we use heavily at Ridge, and they have the ability to monetize your thank you page with their free network offers feature. Real numbers from Aftersell users: 12,000% ROI, up to 35% increase in conversions, and over a 16% average conversion rate. If you're not optimizing your upsells with Aftersell, you're leaving easy money on the table. Book your free demo today and get Aftersell for 60 days free. Go to aftersell.com/operators to claim the offer.
How has that changed? So you were talking about, you're saying like back in the day, OG, the affiliates were the media buyers because they knew about the arbitrage and that information. Yeah. I mean, that's what an arbitrage is, right? It's like a few small group of people know about an opportunity. They go maximize it until at some point it's not an arbitrage anymore because, looking at Facebook, now there's more advertisers in the game. There's the same amount of advertisers, or there's more advertisers competing for the same amount of people. CPMs go up, the cost to acquire people goes up. Okay. Alas, the arbitrage doesn't exist anymore. How is so OG, original channel, Facebook, media buying affiliates are saying, hey, you're going to pay me $50 for a conversion. I think I can get that conversion for $30. We got a $20 profit. Cool. How have you seen that, the channels shift as the arbitrage has, in large part, how many businesses died in the last 5 years because the cost to play on Facebook's just gone up and their unit economics couldn't handle it? How has that changed the channels that affiliates are now operating through?
Yeah, I think, it's moved away from products to brands, right? I think if you're now looking for just day one arbitrage, that doesn't exist anymore. Everyone's playing a long-term LTV game. You're playing retention. That arbitrage is now I worked with we're talking to a brand right now where they're show us how, if we buy a customer today, we'll get that money back in 3 years. They're thinking about 3-year cycles, right? And so again, that mindset has changed fully. And to think of that would be the reality back then, those affiliates be there's no way, right? And so I think, right now, we've now taken a holistic approach. That type of arbitrage opportunity is hard to find currently, unless you're paying really high CPAs or the content's incredibly strong. It's still there. We're seeing a lot of brands do it, especially in GLP-1, right? And so that's another category that's getting a lot of spend. And so again, it's just moving where the opportunity is. And I think that's where affiliate always goes. Affiliate just goes to where it's the easiest to make money. Again, I'll tell you this, a good way to understand an affiliate is they're the smartest folks in the world when it comes to making money, but they're also incredibly lazy. So they want to make it incredibly fast, right? And so that's where there's a lot of tactics that we can learn from in terms of how we can implement that into just better performance across a brand that we work with, for example. But yeah.
Okay.
I have a question here. 'Cause one thing I'm curious about, and I don't know if this is a part of the Paul Street service or just like affiliates at large, but one example of this that I've seen that I would love your take on is what you described a couple of years ago as like Meta or Facebook at the time itself was an arbitrage opportunity. So it's pretty straightforward. Like you could run ads from some supplement company, run content to a landing page. You can make money that way. That's gone. Also, those brands are just advertising on Meta now for the most part. So like you don't have this disconnect. Like that gap's kind of been closed. What feels like where there might be more opportunity is with people developing unique content or publishers to like approach a channel like Meta in a net new way. And like I've seen there's a number of performance publishers who have popped up over the last couple of years whose businesses I think are fascinating. Ridge as a brand is not going to show up and create some sort of like facade of a men's publication to review our products or create a gift guide, but someone else can go do that in a very unique way that is maybe compelling to users on the platform. Now, all of a sudden, there is an arbitrage Meta opportunity within Meta. Does that feel, is that more the exception to the rule, or are you seeing more examples of that going on today?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of what we bring to brands.
Oh, perfect.
So like so it works in a lot of, it's taken a lot of different forms. One example would be, how do you run that type of initiative with a name-worthy publisher like a Hearst, a Dotdash Meredith, a Vogue. So like they're now also, opening their minds to like performance-based relationships with brands. A second level of that is more, the fit healthy mamas of the world that are not like, name brands, but like have the ability to create really high level authentic content that people can resonate with. And then we're taking this with creators as well, right? Like creators are now open to like a lot more performance based deals, which I know you guys have the test of the week segment, and there was an exciting one that we're running this week, which I can jump into later. But like it's taken different forms. It's an additional way now that like brands now have the ability to work with publishers and vice versa. But absolutely.
And are those some of the big ones? Like I said, performance publishers, which are like maybe in the like mom blog that you mentioned, the recognizable publications of Vogue, Hearst, whoever, creators. Anything else interesting? And maybe you don't want to give away the secret sauce or whatever, but I'm curious if there's any other like creative ways that people are kind of repackaging themselves for different social platforms.
I think like honestly, there's no secret there, but like it's I think the win is when we go to a publisher and we teach them how to write direct response articles if they're not really in that category. If it's a name brand publisher, they don't do DR. And DR is where we find the most amount of arbitrage. And so it's about like, okay, these publishers are now losing, audiences. There's not that many people coming to, like visit them from like a ranking perspective anymore. So that's where they're now working with, bigger brands to create a little bit more of a, an intentional piece where there is a reason to buy. And then they work with brands, whether from the perspective of either it's like a percentage of spend model, a CPA model, or like brands are now whitelisting that content directly, right? And so, that outside of that, there's not really that much, but yeah, that's just an opportunity that is scaling right now for a lot of brands.
And do you see publishers? Because like that's I want to go into the media buying affiliates because it's something we turned on and ultimately turned off, and I want to get into that. But before then, do you see a lot of publishers open to like a lot of brands or publishers that have historically taken the very traditional PR approach where it's like flat fee, they're going to give you some sort of like earn media value and like assign a dollar number to it, but it's not really revenue. Like, do you see those publishers, are they open to more either straight up affiliate deals now or like a hybrid affiliate publisher or a hybrid affiliate flat fee deal?
Yeah, so I'll take a step back there, and I'll kind of walk you through the different like cohorts of affiliate, right? So like the one thing that's interesting is when we speak about affiliate, like the media buying affiliates is one type. There's the publishers, but everyone's definition of affiliate is kind of like all over the place, right? So I'd say the way we look at it at Paul Street is the first division that we kind of offer is like these content-driven publishers, right? Like the one thing now we absolutely don't do across the board is any form of coupon. Like we just like completely have this visceral reaction to it. And again, it's like not, it's not a question about like, oh, they're fraudulent. It's just like, hey, there's no value being driven. If I turn it off completely, the revenue for brands don't change. So it's just a, like, where's the value? It's not incremental. Yeah, absolutely. So that brings us to just content-driven affiliates, and we segment that from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So tier 1s being the Vogues, the Condé Nast, the Good Housekeepings, the Katie Courics of the world, where we've had a lot of success with Hexclad. So I'd say the way we work with them is also interesting because these big name publishers have two divisions. There's the editorial side, and then there's the commerce content side. Now, these two like really don't talk to each other. So in order to get the editorial side interested, we are now deploying traditional PR tactics. So we're building a story around the brand, making it story-worthy, noteworthy, so we're getting their attention. And once we get a couple of organic inclusions, that now gives us ammunition to go to the commerce content side and say, hey, listen, like this is a hot brand. People, your publishers are writing about it. It's going to convert. So let's create some form of a deal around this, and that now brings it to either a flat fee deal, CPA, CPC, or rev share, right? And so it depends on the publisher, but like there's no one size fits all type of model. Yeah. It's typically flat fees, CPA, CPC, or rev share, right? And so we use flat fees as sort of an accelerant. Like, if they now have access to, newsletters, communities, like, other ways for them to penetrate them with the content that they've created, that's where flat fees can be an accelerant to the content that's already performing. The other part of it is, again, media buying affiliates. And that's where, the way we're controlling that is we're already coming in. We have access to, third party, domain sites, and we write a lot of whitelisted content, and we create funnels, and then we take, these funnels, and then that's what we're giving to these media buyers on a CPA model so they can find some arbitrage. It works for some brands, it doesn't, right? It's truly a testing process. And then the other part of it is closed communities, right? So this is another type of affiliate that like is more the card linked offers of the world, perks for employees. You're trying to penetrate small groups. For example, I'm sure you guys are American Express holders. You log into the app and now you have a deal for like, American Eagle, right? And so that is what we found actually an incremental channel for a lot of brands, because that was where they were discovering brands and actually purchasing through those channels. So we try to do that at scale. But the other part of it is Amazon specifically. We're running that on a platform called Levanta. But if you take a step back, it's just holistic view about affiliate, right? We have a content-driven approach. We have a direct response-driven approach. And then there's a community approach of it as well. So that's really where most of the brands are seeing success right now when it comes to affiliate.
I didn't realize that a lot of those big publisher houses were dividing that way, like content commerce and just pure like PR. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I get why they separate it, because they don't want like, the actual dollar amount to influence the stories they write. And so it's that journalistic integrity that they're trying to maintain. Yeah. And so on the other side, like commerce content's what's keeping the lights on, right? So we have to talk to both of them.
One thing we talk about on marketing operators all the time is measurement. How am I, as the CMO of Ridge, logging in and understanding what our performance was yesterday and last week and last month compared to different time periods? Our go-to solution for that is Northbeam, a multi-touch attribution tool that we rely on every single day. We really like it for two reasons. One, it is a standard form of measurement across all channels. We know deterministically that if someone clicks through, we're tracking in Northbeam that user is measured in the exact same way between Meta and Snap and TikTok and YouTube partnerships if we're clicking through from there, or TV if we're clicking through from there. So we get this foundational layer that we know is measured in the exact same way over long periods of time. So I have full confidence that we know that we are comparing things accurately and honestly. The second thing I like about Northbeam is its data management tools. We tag incessantly. I talk about naming conventions all the time, and Northbeam is where we benefit greatly from that. Every day I can log in and divide my spend and sort it across different dimensions, so I know exactly how much we're spending across categories, across different demos, across different offers or asset types. So it's our go-to tool. If you want to hear more about Northbeam, make sure to visit northbeam.io and make sure to tell them that the marketing operator sent you.
I'm super interested in the types of affiliate that are working today, but I'd love to jump back so we can like nail this for all the listeners. Coupon sites bad for affiliate. Like, do you want to expound on that anymore? Like, what are the maybe common mistakes you're seeing brands make today with affiliate? And if there's any like, hey, this is like, these are the really red flags that every brand should be avoiding.
Yeah, so I'd say most of the brands we talk to, their experience with affiliates been, tainted purely because of the bottom of the funnel sources, right? And coupon has been a really big source of that. And again, there's a change that's happening right now in the industry, which is good. But we had coupon sites that were predominantly, driving most of the revenue in any affiliate program that if we were to audit it, right? And so the reason being, it was easy, right? It's natural for a customer to go to a coupon site. I mean, I still do it. I'm sure you guys do as well, like, because why not? But again, for a lot more brands, if you're going through the decision to purchase a product that you truly like, a coupon is not really going to make or break that deal, right? And so it's a nice to have, but like what has happened is a lot of brands just over-index on it, and it's a quick win. It's like immediate dopamine. When most brands turn on their affiliate channel within a couple of weeks, couple of months, you're now starting to see the affiliate channel, scaling in impact or AWIN or whatever it is. And so very quickly you're getting excited by it. But then a couple of months later, you're like, well, this is not actually driving revenue. Like revenue is not like increasing, but like I'm paying now more to affiliates. So it's been a little bit of a interesting journey for brands to realize that. And so that's where affiliate also is a little bit where I'd say brands need to just understand like how much time it takes for true affiliate to show back revenue. But like coupon's been one of the channels as an agency we've just been completely against, purely because it just doesn't drive value. Now, for brands that are really massive, like think about the $4 or $5 billion a year in revenue. My mother-in-law in Oklahoma City still clips coupons, right? Like where coupons become the reason to buy a product, right? And so there's another type of brand that has value in that. But, in our space, it's just simply not like where we want to be investing a lot of our performative dollars.
Makes total sense. Okay, so let me tell you one issue that we faced, and then that'll lead into a question about how like the best brands are kind of shaping their affiliate programs. We've worked with like very good faith publishers as affiliates, and we'll say like, and it's really tricky, right? Because I'm like, hey, if you can drive an incremental purchase, I'll give you a big affiliate commission. We give Facebook 40% of revenue, right? Like, I'll happily, I would love to give an affiliate 25% if it's an incremental conversion. And sometimes it is. And sometimes you're getting featured in the email or you're on the homepage and it's like a new user that's not in market that's discovering you. And like, let's call that incremental. The flip side is I heard from a publisher who like was excited about this. They were like, yeah, we started ranking on the first page for the term Ridge Wallet review. And I'm like, that's awesome, but that is completely different. And I cannot pay you 30% of revenue to rank for people who are already searching for our brand. So I've always struggled with how to balance that. And then one thing I love about what you're saying, and this leads to my question about how people are building out the programs at large, is really like working with affiliates to develop content and then almost pairing that with another distribution strategy, not necessarily relying on them for the traffic, but to say, hey, this Vogue article on Facebook will be a profitable funnel for me, which makes total sense. So with that in mind, do you have any advice for how I could better handle that publisher? And then two, how are you structuring programs today to balance this like kind of demand capture versus creation?
Yeah, so that part of it's a little interesting, right? So I'd say a lot of the affiliates like want to rank really highly because like, again, I mean, you go on the first page of Google, there's like 10 links that you're looking at. And ideally you want to have all of it be Ridge Wallet, right? So that way you're not giving it to Extra or some other brand. And so like, one of the ways that affiliates want to work, the reason they want to work with brands that are a little bit more top of mind is because they're selfishly trying to make money off of your guys' brand awareness as well, right? And so that's one way to work with them. But again, like as they're, starting to see, revenue coming from them, because again, with an affiliate, it's like, affiliates hold all of the leverage when you first work with them, right? And so, because if you don't give them what they want, they'll just go work with the next brand and get what they want there. And so once you kind of build trust there, go through this process that we like to call affiliate brand fit, that's when you have now the ability to, collaborate with them in ways that they might not work with, traditionally with brands. So again, it requires a lot of, I think, education on the affiliate side, being like, cool, we now can guarantee a minimum amount of spend if you are now letting us whitelist, or like, you guys can, run internal ads on your guys' Facebook page, and we'll additionally give you an affiliate commission on that. That part of it has been incredibly, successful on both sides, but it takes a little bit more time to get there. Now, yeah, it's a little interesting because the actual publishers want to rank really highly, and so again, they're the brand bidding fraud that we see with a lot of affiliates, they actually come from name-worthy publishers that are actually bidding on brand terms so they can capitalize on that commission. But I hope that makes a little bit of sense. But yeah,
totally.
So how do you think about piggybacking off that a little bit? Because we don't do media buying affiliates. Like we really want, the way that we look at affiliates and the way that we're working with you on affiliates, like you just mentioned, are these content publisher affiliates, right? Like we want to go and say, hey, we want to partner with affiliates that have built audiences, and their distribution, at least to an extent, is built into their content, because they have top of funnel traffic going to this article, to their website, and they're clicking through because they're reading that article. And we're making the bet that it's an incremental audience that we're not reaching through our other audiences. We killed media buying affiliates because we are spending, like Ridge, a lot of money on Facebook ads and all sorts of paid media ads. And I just didn't believe that these affiliates driving revenue were doing it in a way that wasn't just capturing our demand. So we killed it. And like we have we love our affiliate program. It's very content publisher driven. And you called out a point that I think is really important to double down on. Like whoever's leading up your affiliate program has to be an absolute hawk with fraud. Like we work with Anna Barker's our director of affiliate marketing. She is a whiz at affiliate marketing. She is so hard on these affiliates. Like she is cutting affiliates left and right based on, the things that they're doing. So how do you look at media buying affiliates, and like what's like the recipe for success on a media buying affiliate versus the recipe for disaster in like a situation where you're probably just ultimately paying double to Facebook and to the affiliate, and the affiliate's maybe not driving an incremental order?
Yeah, so I'd say like step one is, I think you guys are a great example. Anna is an absolute G, she understands the channel so well. And I think the biggest part of it is also education, right? Like every type of affiliate that's in the program is different from another. So like the way it behaves, the type of customer it drives, conversion rates based on the channel that they're driving in is also variable. And so that part of it is incredible. Has been an incredible relationship for us to, work with Anna very closely. Now, when it comes to fraud, and, like identifying that, I think, step one is, if things look a little too good to be true, like it's fraud, right? Like I think it's like, high conversion rates, that's like step one. If an affiliate's scaling really highly with like not the, most competitive of payouts, that could be another one. If we're starting to see like, cookie stuffing and like, again, like,
what is
you
cookie
guys again.
stuffing?
So cookie stuffing is like, where an affiliate's, putting multiple tracking cookies on a user's browser without their consent. And like this now will trick like a merchant system into attributing the sale to the affiliate. And so that way, like they're getting credited for a sale and getting commission, even if it's not a last click or direct link, sale. So there's a lot of stuff that we have to on the daily, like try to catch. But it's also not relying on the affiliate platform as a source of truth. So the brands where we're the most successful with are the ones that give us a direct line of access into their internal attribution tools, like if it's like Prescient or like Rockerbox or Northbeam or Looker, like that's where we're able to see like, hey, this is actually like driving a lot of sales, because that's what allows us to be a little bit more ahead of the curve here. Again, we are using things like brand verity, so that we can catch affiliates proactively, because they all like to ask, forgiveness rather than permission. So we just have to proactively find these affiliates from brand bidding, and that's the first thing that they usually fall into. And it's it's easier said than done, but we have a full team that all they do every single day is continuously log in from using VPNs, using brand terms to see if our affiliates are ranking highly for brand terms for our brand, right? And that's where we catch it. We retro payments out, and it sucks. I'm like, it's a necessary evil as part of like the by being an affiliate agency like operator. Like it's just, I guess we have to invest heavily into that. But I'm just like, I just wish for the day where everyone's just incredibly transparent and like just working together closely. But I think you guys are also a really good program, because now we've developed a lot of trust with publishers, and that takes about a year. Especially in the beginning when we work with new brands and new publishers. They like affiliates are typically trying to get away with little sins, right? And so that's where we hold them accountable, and we have a pretty strong policy. If like one affiliate's acting a little out of the ordinary on one brand, we knock them out completely out of the entire roster. And so that's resulted in just as an agency, we've been able to demand a lot of trust. But cookie stuffing, like there's coupon usage on multiple sites that they own and leverage. Ad hijacking is another one that just falls into like brand bidding and getting on display sites. But yeah, there's a lot of fraud in affiliates still, but not as much as it was like a year ago, 2 years ago.
So will you, with the media buying affiliates, will you ever add in rules and say like, yes, you can be a media buying affiliate for this brand, but you can only buy in Facebook or a top of funnel social channel, or yes, you can be an affiliate for this brand, but you have to give us access to the back end of your Google account and send us a weekly report on your search terms. And that's the only way we'll do it. Like, does that work?
Correct.
Or does that not work?
So for the brands that are seeing a lot of value in this channel, that's the approach, right? Now, step one is we use a tool called Everflow specifically for these types of affiliates. And so step one, we're able to control the pixel for it to fire on net new customers only. The second part of it is in order for it to be a last click attribution, we're also able to set time-based attribution windows. So if it's pure direct response, we're able to bring it down to a 4-hour window or like 12-hour window. Usually we start with 30 days and we bring it down so that we're only working with high quality partners that are driving a lot of new customers from a DR perspective. But then the other part of it is we completely just ban Google, right? Like no one's allowed to run on Google. Right. So the only channels that they're working with are like TikTok, Taboola, Outbrain, Tapjoy, where like native sources are great. Facebook, obviously. But for example, we have this one supplement brand where we work with a TikTok media buying affiliate. And this TikTok media buying affiliate on a weekly basis will create and produce anywhere between 50 to 100 net new pieces of creative and ads. Like they are shooting in their content studio and they're now running ads behind that and driving anywhere between 75 to 200 sales per day on a CPA model. So now for this brand, they get to work with this TikTok media buying affiliate without really having to invest into content in the channel, without really having to work with an agency for that channel and pay retainer plus ad spend. They're just working with them purely on a CPA game, right? And so that's an example of a quality media buying partner.
Yep.
But again, like it took us probably 6 to 7 months of testing and like painfully testing to get to that level of like a comfortable cadence where that partner is now able to drive consistent scale.
Yeah,
totally.
It's been really cool to see Prescient this year just emerge as one of the leading, trusting solutions for brands to measure their media mix. Now more than ever, triangulation, having no source of truth, but really it's best practice to have multiple methods to be able to figure out, what is performing. And one of the things that we love in our toolbox is Prescient. But it's been really cool to see a lot of brands onboarding with them and having a lot of success. Onboarding is super quick. It's the quickest I've ever seen from an MMM. It's been great for our upper funnel channels. Things like TV and YouTube has really given us confidence, and it's very hard to validate and test TV. So they have great integrations. We use Tatari for all our TV buying. And so it's the best way where we're able to understand how our upper funnel channels are working. We're not on Amazon, but if you're on Amazon, you can get really cool halo sales impacts of Amazon as well as retail channels. So it's awesome. You can forecast revenue and acquisition costs across all your channels, optimize your media mix to improve your profitability. They've always got new channels coming, which is really cool. It's really played a really big role in us scaling and having the confidence to increase our spend in things like TV, both linear and streaming and YouTube as well. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. So there's a reason why Prescient is trusted by Jones Road Beauty, Hexclad, Hollow Socks, Coterie, and over 100 more. And so if you want to be like one of us, like Jones Road, like Connor from Hexclad, check out Prescient, which I highly recommend you should. Go to prescientai.com/operators to book a demo and see for yourself.
I have a couple points here. One is one reason I'm so interested in the unique content, and I described it as like repackaging a brand for different social channels, is because like Connor, you mentioned we both spend a ton of money on Meta, but like we really only spend it in one way, right? We might be whitelisting, but it's like largely coming from the brand page. So it's like all of a sudden if we have this cool tactical TikTok buyer, it's like I don't actually really theoretically, I don't work with them, but I don't really care that we're paying them out on a CPA basis. This is like a net new function of the business, and that's what I think is really unique about the program. So, Aaron, my question is,
and just real quick, that part of it, Connor, is like a lot of brands use this model as a testing channel. You know what I'm saying? So like for what they're seeing, I was like, oh, this is actually great. Now, if there's room for me to save on those margins, then I'll bring it internally. But like, effectively have had someone else like prove that out for me, right? Yeah.
Totally. So one of my questions is, if you look at all the Paul Street clients or 100% of revenue, what percentage now, even just ballpark, I don't know if you know this too accurately, but what percentage comes from media buying partners versus someone like a Hearst sending emails, featuring you on the homepage, featuring you in articles, in that like more, it's not, there's no media buying attachment to it?
Yeah, I'd say probably like 65-70% of it comes from content-driven publishers. That's where we're spending most of our time, because again, like it's we work with a lot of great brands. Like we work with like Todd Snyder and like Coterie. These are beautiful brands that want to tell stories to convert a customer rather than going down the direct response route. Now, for the media buying affiliates, like DR is a big part of it. But again, it's branded DR. It's not like, they're saying whatever they want to acquire those customers. But again, it needs to be like proper arbitrage, and there needs to be an opportunity for consistent like growth in the daily volume, because that's what at the end of the day, a media buying affiliate's looking for. So what we'd like to do is, a lot of brands want to test this channel because it's a channel that's worth testing, because again, like a Goalie Nutrition, and on it, anywhere between 30 to 60% of net new customers that they acquire on a daily basis comes from this channel, which is very significant, right? And so it's worth a shot. Now, after kind of going through it and understanding that this requires, heavy compliance, heavy testing, a lot of creatives, daily approvals, change in CPA, it's a lot of work, right? And I think from the media buying perspective, the media buyers need to like back out at least, 8 to 15% in margin minimum, right? For them to like, take home a return. And in some cases, it's just not the right fit, right? And I think that's where we like to test it well, but again, like be okay with the fact that it's not meant for every brand. Totally. And so that's where we focus a lot of our energy on content-driven publishers and finding unique ways to work and scale with them. And that's why, and that's very exciting for us too, because, we're able to scale up a content like driven approach for brands, when previously for them, majority of their volume has been coming from bottom of the barrel sources. But yeah.
Totally. Very cool. I thought it was going to be the inverse, just because the media buying theoretically is so scalable, but, I was also
the
just gonna say,
potential, but the potential is there. On the media buying side, right? Like, but again, like we like to less is more there, right? If I were to run that for all of our brands, it's like a nightmare operation. Like, there's no way. Absolutely.
Got it.
Aaron, I want to talk about the analytics a little bit here. How should brands be thinking about, what a good, sorry, I got to move my air quotes in. What's a good kickback on an affiliate? It obviously varies from brand to brand, but like, how do you help brands wrap their heads around whether or not they should be paying, 30% to an affiliate of all revenue or 5%? Like, what's the thinking that should go into that to establish, like, ensure that you're not breaking the bank or paying too little? Because it's a sweet spot, right? Like, if you don't incentivize the affiliate, like, they're not going to write about your brand and plug you. And obviously you can't be paying them too much to the point where you're not getting any margin on your affiliate kickback. So how do you think about that when it comes to establishing those affiliate kickback rates?
Yeah. So the best part about affiliate is the payout is never fixed, right? It's incredibly dynamic. It's an absolute lever in terms of like deal making, right? And I think this is where most brands, fall short of having a successful affiliate program. Is they just like, set up the platform, turn on the channel, and then say, yeah, we're at 10%, and that's it. Like, and then they're like, oh shit, well, why aren't we getting affiliates? This is so crazy. Like, we're a big brand, But again, this is the model, right? Affiliates eat first, and then you eat, right? And what I mean by that is, if you want to go now after a powerful affiliate that's, if let's just say you're a beauty brand and you want to go work with a number one like beauty affiliate, and you say, hey, we'd like to work with you, here's 15%, right? That beauty affiliate may not care about the brand, even though you might be a massive, massive company in terms of revenue, in terms of brand equity. But if you're able to go to them and say, hey, we'd like to, explore opportunities with you, let's get on a call and see what it takes to make it work, right? And what you're seeing now is you're trying to build trust with an affiliate, because the one thing is, I would love for affiliate as a channel to be as much of a machine like Facebook is, where you're putting out $1 in this side and hopefully spits out 2 or 3 on the other end. But with affiliate, you're dealing with people, right? And so when you're dealing with people, it's purely a relationship-based game where you're earning trust with the affiliate, driving value for them. And then that's where that, leverage shifts over time, is after an affiliate starting to see success in the relationship, that's where you can kind of go in and set certain like parameters of actual payouts, right? And so what that means is, in the beginning, if you're giving the affiliate an opportunity to not make money or not lose money, right? If at least where they're break even, that gives you enough ammunition to go back and test. Like, like Connor said, if you're paying Facebook 40% of your revenue, ideally you want to go that, go make it that lucrative with an affiliate in the beginning, if you believe that that's a channel that can bode well for both parties. And then eventually, lower that payout, because, you want to make it a long-term relationship. Now, in terms of 3 things that an affiliate looks for, in terms of priority, number 1 is they want to work with brands that convert well, right? So you could give an affiliate a $500 payout, but like if the traffic goes to a brick wall on your PDP and it doesn't convert, no one wins, right? And so number 1 is they're looking for EPC rates. They're like looking for high converting brands to work with. And that is where most brands who spend most of their time before going and engaging with affiliate. The number 2 part is pay them on time, right? And so most affiliates like pay them immediately. They're like agencies or whatever, like it's not a monthly net 10 or monthly net 15, like pay them on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis. The more money the affiliate gets back, the more they're able to invest back into the program and grow, right? That's second thing. The third thing is the payout, right? That's where they're looking for competitive payouts, where at least in the beginning, if you build enough trust with them, they at least want to break even. If they lose money and they're consistently losing money and you refuse to like address that, you have forever lost that affiliate. They'll never come back, right? And so we've always seen this with brands. We're like, hey, like we want to work with the Vogue, but we'll only give them 15%. I'm like, that's great. Like we all want that, but they don't want to work with you. Like, and again, it's like trying to earn that trust with them. Healthline is a great example. It's one of our top converting partners, top converting affiliates in the health and wellness space. But they require a minimum of a 6-figure engagement to work out an affiliate deal with them. Now, in every case that we've worked with them and we go through the due diligence, it's backed up for the brand, right? But for a brand that's not willing to go through that process and they're like shocked at the 6-figure engagement, that's kind of what it takes with a powerful affiliate, because again, you're tapping into an audience that you previously would never have had access to, and you're using their authority to help educate and also convert them. So that's where I'd say use the payout as a lever to actually create custom deals. And it's never fixed. We change out affiliate payouts with certain partners on a weekly basis, right? It's an ongoing, living, breathing thing that you have a lot of control over. But yeah,
I think I appreciate the breakthrough, the breakdown. That makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of brands, they get sticker shock at a percentage and they don't do the math and realize that percentage is actually way marginally better than what they're paying other top of funnel channels. It's they get wait, what, 30% to this affiliate? I can't pay that. And then they don't do the math. But if they went and did the math, they'd realize that they're actually paying way more on Facebook's whatever window. And then they go do the math on 30%. It's actually $20 cheaper than what they're paying Facebook. And so that's how we always look at it, is this is basically what we talked about, Connor, in the past. What if you don't have an incrementality testing tool? What if you don't have an MMM? How do you compare these channels to one another? Well, you should look at, the Northbeam data you have. It's kind of the same thing with affiliates. Well, what are other top of funnel channels getting me in terms of a CPA? And can I do a kickback to an affiliate that's A, lucrative to the affiliate and motivates them, like you just said, but B, is marginally better than what I'm paying Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or a creator? And because ultimately you're trying to always drive down your blended acquisition costs. And as long as you're trying to marginally do that in all your channels, you're going to probably achieve that, or at least offset any CPA increases that happen from natural things in a business, like scaling media spend or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we always look at it that way. But I think a lot of it's you got to do that comparative math and don't get sticker shock at the percentage. Chances are it's still better than what you're paying other channels that are at higher scale.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to, you guys are in a different category, but if you were to look at the average beauty brand or supplement brand, they're paying Facebook sometimes 150% of AOV on first order, right? It's not, and then they go and turn on the affiliate channel. And I think the general understanding is, if you haven't turned on affiliate, is that it's supposed to be at 15% or 10% or 20%, right? And so it's just a conversation and education around, if you're acquiring customers, you're okay paying that. And in the beginning, go ahead and do that. So that way you're building a little bit more trust with the partner and working together, right? But yeah, I think that's, again, I'll say this. The way we've built out our offering is knowing that marketers internally at the brands, affiliate is a channel that's important, but it's not going to be we've seen it be a primary source of customer acquisition for some brands, but ideally they want to just have, trust with the person that's running affiliate. And so that's being driven on an ongoing basis. But most brands are not required to understand or be educated about how affiliate works. It's just by having a partner that, you want to bring in, have a lot more trust, and give them the liberty to create and control a lot more of the payouts. And that's what I talk to most brands with. And it's look at it as a blended payout. So some affiliates you're, paying out 140%. And then some affiliate you're paying out 5%, right? And so that part of it is very manageable for brands, and one that can result in a lot of value. But
yeah, I think it makes your other channels perform better too. You think about HexClad as a good example, where we really are pretty diligent about making sure that affiliates super top of funnel. We're not doing a ton of media buying affiliates for the reasons you said. We have a very long consideration period. So think about that. Chances are these affiliates are driving top of funnel traffic to our site. That traffic, at least a good chunk of it's not converting in that 30-day, affiliate kickback window. And then at some point, we're going to convert them, whether it's organic or through a Facebook ad or whatever it is. And we're not paying the affiliate on that. Now, it's obviously in the affiliate's best interest to for those brands like us, do multiple key pieces of content over time, so they can try to get the first click and the last click. But like these affiliate channels can really grow a lot of your other channels, and same with the media buying affiliates. Like I would argue that TikTok affiliate example that you mentioned, like that affiliate unlocked a new funnel for that brand. They added a whole new like content pillar, which in theory should make all their other content perform better because they've overall just diversified the ad mix. So like it has halo into these other channels. It's certainly not happening in a silo by any means.
Yeah, we did a study with that specific use case, and we saw that the affiliates, when they drove revenue from a media buying perspective, resulted in a 18 to 20% halo in other channels.
Yeah.
And so what the brand did was they just increased the payout from that perspective to incentivize the affiliate a little bit more, right? And so again, it's like, levels to this in terms of how you variable you can get and creative you can get with the payout structure of it. But again, it's again, less is more here, right? Again, a lot of this is again, the understanding with affiliates is that it's a quantity game, which is not true. It's completely quality based, because again, when we take over, some programs and we look at the parts of affiliate, it's primarily not more than 15 to 20 affiliates that are driving most of the quality conversions, right? And so if we were to work with them, with this really unique handheld white glove approach, that results in a much more scalable program, but also no one's stressing out because you're not dealing with hundreds of different partners that you have to control on every little aspect of it. But it's really a quality game over just quantity as well. But
so we switched CX softwares right before Black Friday. Normally wouldn't be the best decision, but we were looking at Richpanel, and it was just so much better than what we were using. Our contract was up. And honestly, I'm so happy we did. It was the first time ever that we made it through Black Friday and holiday period with no ticket backlog. And I really owe that to Richpanel. First of all, it's cheaper. It's way less. We cut our costs compared to what we were paying before by 50%. It's the first AI CX platform I've seen that's really built with AI in mind. And we're not even fully maximizing what we can do with AI yet. So I can't wait to see how much more efficient we can be. But it's really the first one I've seen that's built in this new era of commerce and AI tech. It's, already being used by over 2,000 brands like us, like Ridge as well. One thing that's been really cool, we were able to leverage a lot of their automations and routing. So our average response time went way down when we switched to them. Our efficiency with AI went way up. We also just implemented their self-serve help desk, reduced our tickets by 30% without affecting anything. We're able to take care of 60% of those interactions without actually having to route them to a person. So obviously there's financial components to that have been really helpful. The team is great. I see our team going back and forth with the Richpanel team all the time in Slack. They want feedback. They want feature requests. You're just not going to get that from some of the old legacy players. So it's going to be cheaper. You're going to have better use of AI that everyone's trying to catch up on. The UX is way better. The tagging is better. It has the best analytics suite of any of the CX tools I've used. So we're super happy. So if your help desk costs are too high, if you're not thrilled with your outdated software that is, you feel like is robbing you, I highly recommend you switch to Richpanel. You could reduce cost, reduce ticket volume by 30%. And honestly, that's pretty conservative. Highly recommend you get a demo and see for yourself. Go to richpanel.com to check it out.
Connor, did you have a question?
I was hoping you guys were down to chat on the cool stuff. You kind of touched on it earlier, Aaron. Affiliates historically have been ahead of the curve in terms of what are the best practices of tomorrow's marketers. You talked about VSLs a little bit. I'd love to jam a little bit more on what we think today is getting done that we'll all think and everybody will be adopting 2 or 3 years from now. Are you guys down to do that?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So Aaron, you brought up VSLs. Is there anything else you'd put in that bucket? Cool stuff you see affiliates doing today where you're like, this is what Hexclad, this is what Ridge is going to be doing in 2026.
So something that's cool that we just started testing over the last 2 weeks has been a performance-based deal. So what we're doing is we're working with one of the most recognizable celebrities, massive on Instagram, big brand awareness around who he is, and typically charges $200,000-$300,000 for a post type of situation, right? And so what we're doing with this celebrity is we've created a CPA based deal where we went to this really big brand and we're essentially having that person create content, and we're using that content and giving it to some of our media buying partners. And they're now running the ads from the celebrity's ad account and celebrity's actual page, and they're connected to the media buyer's ad account. But this is a CPA based game for the celebrity and for the media buying partner. So now for the brand, you get access to now one of the most credible people on the internet without having to pay a pretty massive, sum to get, their name, image, and likeness and stamp of approval behind their product. But this is now a pure performance play between both parties. And so for the influencer, the reason they're doing this is they kind of understand that this is where it's going, right? Purely because they're now starting to see that deals are starting to like be a little bit more less that's coming to them that are willing to pay them the $300,000-$400,000 for a post, or any form of a sum that's for an appearance or something like that. So like this is where they're trying to work with a partner. And so that is something I think that in the next like couple of months that people are probably going to recognize and see. And that could be a little bit more standard in the next year or two. But we're really excited about this. The early numbers on it are really, really promising. It's converting really well. There's a halo on the brand side. So yeah, it's actually pretty exciting.
Dude, that's awesome. And that makes total sense. Like just de-risking it for the brand, creating more opportunities to have successful partnerships, and then you get like, it's a CPA basis, so you get like scalable payment basically. Makes total sense. Like I would love to see, we try to sign more of those like hybrid deals on the influencer side to like de-risk it a bit for us and then give creators upside if their video performs really well. We had our best creator video was last summer. It was expensive. It was maybe $100,000 and it did like $800,000 in revenue. And I'm like, frankly, I would love
organically?
Organically. Yeah. It was
Oh, wow.
crazy. Yeah.
That's insane.
By far the best video ever. And I would love to do more videos like that. But frankly, like a lot of the time you're spending $100,000 and it just kind of falls flat. So I'm like, oh yeah, if it's all of a sudden it's a lower commitment, but we're paying you $300,000 if you generate 800, that aligns all of our incentives. We could just do way more deals, get more content out there. So I agree. That does sound like just more favorable for all parties.
Yeah, that's another thing is like you can go to these creators and like if they charge $300,000, a way that we've seen a lot of success with them is like, hey, we'll give you $100,000, but then we'll guarantee $200,000 in a percentage of spend if you give us access to running the ad from your ad account, right? And so we're starting to see a little bit more acceptance in that, which I think is going to be more like more receptive, with creators. Again, it's like an education on the creator side because they're not performance marketers. So they don't understand the game from that perspective, and nor are they supposed to, but like they are, trying to learn that in a way of, okay, this is now a lucrative way to, put more money in my pocket from a performance-based deal. And it also incentivizes them to like be in lockstep with the brand, kind of have that feedback loop on, oh, this messaging worked, this creative worked. And like, hey, now you're just kind of getting a steady stream of content from them organically, right? Which is great. But yeah.
So, okay. So one other like affiliate adjacent company that I was super interested in, and it didn't work out for them, but I could see it being a thing of the future. Did you follow the Fascination?
Yeah.
So the Fascination, for those listening, founders came from Lisa Mattress industry, famously like super PVP, super affiliate driven. Yeah. So they were like very familiar with this. They built out the Fascination, which was like half performance publisher, half marketplace. Their vision was like you could ultimately buy Ridge Wallets on the fascination.com. So they'd create content, they'd host your products for sale, and then they would partner with media buyers to like run there. So you could run, hey, we were number one on the Fascination's gift guide. They could grow brand awareness because brands were promoting them, and you'd create this like natural flywheel. I always thought that was super cool. I want to see more of it. Do you think that happens?
Yeah, I think like its publisher marketplaces are exciting. It's worked. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to require a lot of testing, a lot of like a lot more brands willing to invest into it from an intentional perspective. Have you tried it at the Ridge?
Publisher marketplaces. I mean, I was really into this a couple years ago. So we were like, let me think. The Fascination's going to be the best example. There were a handful of others that we were listed on. Verishop, I'd put in that bucket. They were like kind of editorial.
How did it do?
It just wasn't meaningful. And that's like, frankly, been our experience with affiliate a lot so far, is like, we can put in time and energy and we just hasn't moved the needle for us. And then we basically shut those down just because we didn't want to take the time and energy to manage the relationships.
Got it. Yeah. I think like from a publisher perspective, like if I were a publisher like that, that's where the most amount of opportunity is. So if you're able to like create a lot of trust with your audience, but again, serve a marketplace where they're able to like check out within their own experience, now there is a direct rev share with the product.
Right.
They're now, media buying advertising companies internally. There's opportunities for collaboration. So like, I think like from a publisher perspective, because honestly, we're speaking to a lot of, some of the biggest publishers in the space, and they're all, honestly kind of spooked. They're scared about like what the future holds in terms of AI and like, searchability. And there was a massive like round of layoffs in December in the space. And so they're all like trying to see where that next leg of authority and conversion and commerce is. And so I feel like, think about it. If Vogue were to create a marketplace where, they're now talking to their audience from an authority perspective, but also are able to like have an area where, they're able to check out right there when it's so native to their audience, like in their experience, like that's just a initiative worth testing. But I think that's where like also there's some opportunity for future affiliate wins in the space. But again, it's a channel that evolves on a daily basis, right? There's a new thing happening in affiliate almost every week. And so that part of it keeps us on our toes as well, in terms of like where to test, where to not like be, maybe a little too starry-eyed with the newest, hottest thing and just trying to be careful. But yeah, that's exciting though.
Yeah, I think it's cool. You bring up Vogue having a marketplace. I mean, that reminds me of Stack Commerce, similar sort of. I think Stack Commerce bought the Fascination. Like that was all a part of the same vision of like making editorial or content publishers more shoppable.
No, I think like, again, like there's think testing, there's an opportunity with those guys, Quality Edit, like, Lauren's built an incredible company there and I've been a fan of hers from afar. But there's a lot of cool things happening in affiliate. It's just not at scale yet. But I think like the right things are happening in certain things. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So those are the first ones that come to mind. Anyway, it was super fun. I like jamming on that. Go ahead.
I have one more I want to ask about. So do you think that, all right, so you were saying at the beginning of the episode, Aaron, that it was the affiliate that owned the media buying expertise back in the day. And then that expertise over time, like became owned by the brand. And now a lot of brands are doing their own media buying or working with agencies and they're not doing it on affiliate deal. So now it's, the core affiliate channel in many cases has become content publishers, right? Like they've built an audience and they're then leveraging that audience that the brand's not getting to drive revenue through an affiliate link and getting kickback that way. Do you think that the same way the media buying has transitioned in-house to brands, that like brands are going to start to generate audiences outside of just their product, right? Like brands are going to be starting to like try to also become publishers and bring that expertise in-house and like build audiences that way. Like we've talked a lot about this with recipes, right? Like we are a cookware brand. Thus it makes a ton of sense for us to provide amazing recipes to our audience. And we think that we one day can do it so good, hopefully, that we actually have people coming to us for our recipes first. And we ultimately create this content to commerce model. Right now, we're just a product company. Everyone comes to Hexclad because of that reason. But we think that there might be an avenue to get people come into our site to consume content, whether that's recipe content or maybe like think like masterclass type content of like, here's 9 knife skills you need. Like, do you think that will also transition to the brand the same way the media buying affiliate transitioned to the brand?
I mean, absolutely.
I mean,
yeah, I think one of my favorite like stories in the last like couple of years was Ridge buying like the publisher. Like that was such a genius move. I think owning an audience by way of a authoritative, credible like voice is powerful, because at the end of the day, that's what like consumers are buying into. I think if HexCloud were to own like their own like cooking initiative, like a TV channel one day, like like that's just like owning direct access to a consumer, where they're not just coming to you for a product, but they're coming to you for education, learning, like inspiration. Like absolutely, I think there are a couple of brands doing this well, and yeah, I think like similar to how brands are now becoming content creators, I think they're now going into like, also there's an opportunity for them to become owners of their audience. But I will say though that I still believe that on your earlier point though, is just because most of our revenue comes from content driven affiliates, it blows me away kind of seeing the level of scale that some of these media buying affiliates are able to do. Again, like the secret I'd say that that most people don't know is some of our media buying affiliates are some of the best media buyers in the Twitter sphere. Like these are like people that you go to these you go to Twitter and like they have hot takes and they're well known, but they'll come work with us being like, hey, like, are you telling me I have the ability to run like a Todd Snyder on a CPA model? Like, why wouldn't I? Because I believe in myself as a really capable media buyer. And if this is the payout, I can definitely beat that. So like, again, some of the best media buyers in the world like work for themselves, right? And so this is a opportunity for them to like work with brands and find that arbitrage. And it's an incredible like place for me to be just sitting here and just like witnessing that on a day-to-day basis, because we've been able to see these partners come out of nowhere and drive meaningful value to our brands in a way that gets them excited too. Because we've had some brands give up on TikTok. We've had some brands give up on like, native sources, right? And so for them to have like this window of opportunity with partners that are really good in this channel has also gotten them excited about their business. And it's been a meaningful engagement for some of them as well. But yeah, I think that's where I'm excited about the future of affiliate. Our mission at the company is just to make our brands fall in love with the affiliate channel, right? And the reason why we, say that is purely because most of the times we're taking over a brand that hates the channel, right? And so I've been on the receiving end of seeing affiliate turn businesses around and being able to run that for brands and kind of change their perspective and understand this is a people-driven initiative. Like there's a lot of potential there as well. But yeah, it's really, really exciting.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Huckberry is one that I always mention. I've probably mentioned them 10 times on this podcast, but they're a great example. They're so good, dude. They're so good.
Fantastic.
Like they got people coming there to watch a 30-minute YouTube episode and an interview with Leon Bridges that has nothing to do with their products, but it's branded storytelling. And then eventually I bet those people are going to buy something from that brand.
I mean, like Huckberry is an affiliate for other brands too, right? Like they've completely, we had the privilege of working with them early last year, and like it was incredible to just witness like how they thought about affiliate, how they thought about content. But yeah, it's wild to me. Like brands can become affiliates for other brands by building a community there as well. But like, I remember we went to Japan, my wife and I, last year, and like we looked at the Huckberry content for inspiration of where to go to eat.
Right.
Like, I'm like, that's crazy that I'm looking at like a brand that sells like hiking shoes and backpacks for recommendations of where to eat in Japan. Right.
Are you watching
like,
their Dirt episode?
Their Dirt episode,
right?
Baby. Like it's so crazy to me. But yeah, phenomenal team there. Phenomenal.
They're the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm pumped that you mentioned test of the week. I didn't forget about that. Any guest that prepares a test of the week, we gotta run through that test.
I mean, honestly, it was the test that we did with the celebrity, like what I talked about earlier. I mean, again, we're really excited about that part of it, right? It's like being able to work with someone that's massive. And bring to them a brand that is proven and does 9 figures a year in revenue, like, that gets the celebrity excited. To the brand, it gets them really wanting to make this work, because if you're able to network with a really powerful creator on a performance model, like they could do this all day. And so I'm excited about it because this now also allows us to kind of create a playbook that allows us to now go and talk to other, name-worthy creators, name-worthy celebrities in terms of like, hey, let's work with brands on a performance model. This is how you guys can make a lot of money. But that was the test, we're, again, like there's a little bit more of a competitive CPA here. Like the payout that we're giving out to the affiliate is, like $250 to $300, which is, again, considering the fact that you are working with someone of a high, authoritative standpoint, like he's a very recognizable person. But yeah, I don't think there's anything like that that's been done before. And so we're excited to see the efforts of it in the next like 2-3 weeks. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes.
Please do.
Awesome.
Fascinating test.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a banger first affiliate episode on the Operator. So we appreciate you coming on, Aaron. This has been a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot.
No, of course. Thanks for having me. I again appreciate you guys for like doing this. Me and Patty talk about like wanting to create some form of content, and I'm like, man, no, it's just a lot of work. And like you guys are at what, episode 49? I can't imagine this is easy. So thank you guys for doing what you're doing. I'm sure it's exciting and rewarding. But yeah, this is great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Dude, of course. And are you on Twitter?
I am.
Yeah, where should the people find you personally? If anyone's interested in working with Paul Street, what's the best way to have a chat with you?
Yeah, paulstreet.co, Paul street.co. My name's Aaron Paul, Brown Aaron Paul. But Aaron Paul OS is my on my Twitter. But I'm not on Twitter a lot. But yeah, hit me up on either Twitter or LinkedIn, and yeah, we can jam. I would love to jam about affiliate. I'd love to like. I'm such a nerd about other affiliate programs, so I randomly ask for brands to. I'll like, hey, I'll sign an NDA. I just want to see what you're working with, like, just to see, what the opportunity is. But yeah, I'm a nerd about affiliate, and I am super, super lucky to have, been a part of, pretty awesome growth with Paul Street because we have some incredible people working for us. And so, yeah, I just want to shout them out too as well. But yeah, this has been great.
Hell yeah.
Amazing. Thanks for coming on, Aaron. All right, that's a wrap on this episode of the Marketing Operators Podcast. Thank you so much, Aaron Paul, for joining. That was a value-added episode on all things affiliate. As always, if you're enjoying the Marketing Operators, make sure to like it. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, share it with a friend, leave a comment if you have any questions. We're trying to answer those as much as we can. And as always, thank you to the sponsors, Motion, Richpanel, Aftersell, Prescient, and Northbeam.